Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. My name's Louis and this is my story. I was born in Hammersmith. My mum was from Cornwall and my dad is from Ireland. At the age of 3, my dad went back to Ireland to look after my half-sisters, and I moved to a town called Hawley, which is next to Gatwick Airport, with my mum. My childhood was pretty sheltered and stuff like that. My mum brought me up with good morals and good mannerisms and things like that. And I was taught to believe in God, but I never actually prayed. At primary school, I was always sort of like the class clown, the joker. I had a lot of attention from girls and stuff like that. I had a lot of friends, a lot of people liked me. I was a very likeable child. I went to Oakwood School on the Balcombe Road. I was still living in Hawley at this time. At secondary school, I sort of changed really. I become more interested in gaming. I played a lot of games online, and I had really good sort of equipment for my age. I had a lot better gaming equipment than a lot of kids. So gaming sort of took over my life alongside sort of skating and going to the park as well. I was quite interested in skating and BMXing, but towards the end of secondary school, I got more into gaming. So therefore I was hanging around with sort of nerdy people and, you know, just discussing games at school. So I was opening myself to bullying a little bit. The main reason I was sort of opening myself to bullying was mainly just because of the people I was hanging around with. Being into gaming, I was hanging around with a lot of nerdy people, and they were getting bullied. I've always been the type of person that will stand up for myself and you know, stand my ground. I was always taught that from a young age. So at school, my GCSEs were pretty much flat C's, very sort of straight line, probably due to the fact that I was more concerned with gaming than studying. But my favourite subjects were business studies and graphics. At the age of 16 was when I really began to sort of come out of my shell. My mum decided to move house to another town called Crawley, which was more sort of up and coming, just the other side of Gatwick Airport. It's trying to be, you know, a bit more like London, a bit more westernised. And at this time is when I went to college as well. I was going to college in Reigate, and I took the decision to study business and IT. College is when I really started to come out of my shell. I had a moped. I was, you know, starting to get back into girls and, you know, socialising with people again. Like I said, my decisions to choose business and IT, my mum sort of pushed me towards IT because, you know, I was good with computers and I was really sort of into that. But since getting a moped and going to college and seeing other people, you know, a few different cultures and things like that, mixing with people, I realised I was behind a little bit. So I needed to catch up. So, you know, I really just started to push, you know, get involved with people, and I realised I had to make a catch up somehow. So realising that I had to catch up to, you know, where other more social and more popular people were at my age, I decided to hang around with a bad crowd because I knew that would get me there quicker. Older people, I would learn more quickly and, you know, progress faster. So at college I got kicked out of IT for playing too many games just because I didn't enjoy the teaching style. I just played games the whole of the lesson. I actually got suspended for that. But business, I was more interested in it, had my mind going a little bit better. The people that I was hanging around with were also in my class, so, you know, sort of gassed it up a little bit for me. We have fun and these sorts of things. So, you know, I decided to pursue business at university level just because I'd seen all the movies and stuff about university life, and I was really interested in, you know, pushing myself out there and getting myself out there more socially known. So my grades from college, they were pretty sort of mediocre. So that sort of limited my choices into getting into top universities, this and that. So I ended up doing a university course at a sort of higher education college in Guildford, but it was all done sort of through the University of Surrey. And quickly, when I went to that college, I made friends with people that were at the university. Just because I was sort of popular and sort of a very outgoing guy. I would say I was probably one of the most outgoing guys on my course. I was actually made sort of course representative for that uni as well, and I was really sort of out there with it. So studying business at university really had my mind going, and I decided that I wanted to make money alongside doing my university course. At the current time, I had a job sort of in McDonald's, minimum wage. It was all a bit long-winded, and you know, seeing people back in the area that I was from were making more money on the streets. You know, I wanted to see a bit more of that paper. And obviously, university, you get grants, they give you a couple thousand here, a couple thousand there, and I was getting more and more hungry for the money. So I set up sort of a little, I set up a little bit of eBay business. I had a shop on eBay, selling different bits and bobs, and I was making quite a good earning from that. But this is when I started to get involved with street life, because I was so hungry for the money, I just wanted more and more. And I tried making, you know, a bit of money on the streets as well as eBay, and it all became a bit too much for me, really. When I got into year 3 of university, about a term in, you know, it just got too much, and I sort of shut down. I had a bit of a breakdown, if you like, because I couldn't juggle everything at once. Like I said, I wasn't living at uni at this time. I was commuting, and it all just got a bit too much for me. So after suspending my studies at uni, I was sort of left to manage the two things that I was still doing, which was a bit of eBay and a bit of, you know, making money on the streets and hanging around with a bad crowd. Obviously, having gone to uni, a lot of people, you know, I was quite a very sort of sociable person, and I really enjoyed the sort of social aspects, which sort of led me away from the eBay money and more towards the money I was making on the streets. And over sort of the end of college and the start of university, I'd got involved in drugs, you know, smoking a bit of pot here and there and taking some more hardcore drugs, going out partying, typical sort of uni lifestyle. So, you know, I got caught more up in the stuff on the streets than, you know, staying humble and doing my own thing at home. So now I'd found my feet a bit better. I had a nice bit of paper in my pocket, and my little moped license had run out, which wasn't really a problem for me at the time because my area was pretty good for sort of public transport and stuff. But, you know, I wanted to branch a bit further afield, so I decided to go and do my moped license again. When I went to go do my moped license, the guy informed me that, you know, they were changing the law, and if I wanted my full bike license, now's the best time to do it. And, you know, I was so sort of up on paper, I decided that I'm going to go for it. I laid down the paper and I got my full bike license in 3 days. I passed with no minors at all, straight pass, you know. And I think the day after I went out and bought a big bike, FZR 600. You know, I can do 0 to 60 in about 3.2 seconds, something like that. So, you know, I'm 21 years old, I've got a big bike, and this really sort of put me out there and you know, got me real sort of gassed up. You know, it was one of the best vehicles on the block, if you like, in my area. So as a means to sort of keep my bike on the road and do all these things, you know, I was getting deeper and deeper involved with crime, you know, different bits and bobs. It was very sort of varied. My area was very multicultural. I was involved with all the different sort of cultures, and they were all making money in different ways. So one day I was on the way to a nightclub. I had, you know, quite a lot of drugs on me. My intention was to go out and sell those drugs to make an income. So I was on the way to the nightclub and we got stopped by the police, unfortunately for me. Okay, so, you know, I got arrested. It was nothing new to me. I'd been arrested quite a few times before, but this time they caught me with quite a lot of stuff, and I was quite worried. And, you know, it was all sort of at a point in my life where everything was you know, bottom of the bottle. You could put it like that. So they took me to the police station. I was really sort of worrying about, you know, what they were going to find at my house, what they'd caught me with, the situation I'd been caught in. All of these things were, you know, playing on my mind. And I was really starting to sort of panic. You know, me and my mum's relationship had been broken down over the years because of the things that I was doing, and this could possibly be my final straw. So I was sitting there in the cell for about an hour, and I decided, I decided I was really sort of in a hole, if you like, and I felt like praying. I felt like, you know, I needed a bit of God in my life. I'd never made a prayer before, but I just felt like, you know, oh God, I'm in a situation right now that needs to be fixed. So I remember pressing the buzzer and asking the policeman for the Bible, because you know my mum, if anything, was Christian, even though she wasn't very practicing. So I remember I pressed the buzzer and I asked the police officer for a copy of the Bible, and he just laughed at me, to be honest. You know, he was laughing at me like I was some little kid in the wrong place at the wrong time. But you know, being brought up by sort of a single parent, you know, I always wanted to be the man, and I knew I was more of a man than him. So the officer brought me the Bible. You know, I'd never even looked at a Bible before. I flicked through a couple of pages and I was reading the Bible, and it was really hitting me deep in the heart, really sort of sincere. I couldn't believe, like, I'd never read this book before, you know, and you know, it'd been spoken about so much. So, you know, I spent that night pretty much, in that one night, I probably read about a third of the Bible, and you know, it hit me so hard that you know, I decided to pray that night, and I made quite a few prayers about the situation that I was in. So yeah, I was released on bail, and I had a job in the airport as well. At this time, I was working for Travelex, South Terminal, Gatwick. I remember it clearly. Now, you know, obviously I'd got a little connection with God at this time, and I remember thinking, I was actually on the way. It was my first day. I was starting Travelex. I was on the way to the airport in a taxi because I was running late, just because I just got out of the police station. Literally that day I started this new job. So I was on the way to my new job in the taxi, and I'm thinking to myself, how can I ask God for help when you know, I don't pray every day. I just prayed when I needed something, when I was in a bad place. So this thought was sort of pondering in my mind. Anyway, I got to the airport and I was walking towards Travelex. I noticed on my right there was a prayer room. So I decided on my lunch break, I'm going to go to the prayer room and check it out. So I went to the prayer room and I decided to pray again, just purely because of the thoughts that I had on the way in the taxi, and whatnot, this and that. This sort of become, you know, a regular thing for me. Every day I went to work, I decided to pray. And I was improving my sort of connection with God. And I was meeting a lot of people in the prayer room that you wouldn't really think. I see a lot of Muslim people in there, and I noticed that they washed before they prayed. But you know, I didn't want to become a Muslim. I was more interested in Christianity. Everything was new for me, and I was just happy with where I was at with the Bible. So at this time I was praying every single day, but my life, although I had a job, my outside life was going rapidly downhill. Everything was sort of crumbling and, you know, really sort of falling apart. I found myself using a lot of intoxicants at this time, and it was all just a bit peak for me, really. So yeah, there was one night when things were really sort of bad for me, and I decided I'm going to go check out my local church. So I remember I went up to the door. I tried to open it. It was about 10 o'clock at night, something like that, and it wasn't open. And I was thinking, like, you know, how come this place isn't open? I thought these places were open all the time. So I began to walk back home, and there was like a bench like halfway between my house and the church, and we used to call it the thinking bench. So I sat down there and contemplated my thoughts for a little while. And one old, well, he used to be a friend of mine, but we'd fallen out over a few things, money, girls, I can't really remember, probably drugs were involved as well. He walks past me and I'm thinking to myself, oh God, here we go, as if my day can't get any worse. It's gonna kick off. And strangely enough, the brother comes up to me and he's being overly friendly with me, super friendly. And I'm thinking, what's this guy on? He's asking me how I am, how's my family? Like, he's never asked me that question before. And I'm thinking, what is going on here, yeah? So anyway, we began to chat for a little while, and he explained to me that, you know, it's Ramadan, he's a Muslim, you know, and he started apologizing for the things that had happened in the past, even though I thought in my heart that they were my fault. So, you know, he's apologizing, we're having this chat, and yeah, it really sort of hit me in the face at how nice he was being to me. I even had me thinking that maybe he's got an ulterior motive. But anyway, me and this brother started hanging out quite a lot, having some late night discussions, this and that. And I began sort of asking him questions about Islam. Obviously during Ramadan, he was really sort of practicing and into it. And he was really sort of gassed up by it, if you know what I mean. And you know, it was a good time for us to meet because I just got on the praying and whatnot. And any questions I didn't know about Islam and he didn't know about Islam, he would go and ask his parents and they would tell him the answer and he would tell me the next day. So, you know, we both were sort of learning about Islamic things at this time. So I was really in sort of conspiracy theories, Illuminati. Everyone's talking about Illuminati. I was hearing it in music and all of these different things. And I've been researching a lot of stuff. Too much stuff, probably, to be honest. I spent a lot of time on the computer researching all these things, alongside, you know, speaking to my friend and all of these things, whatnot. One day I'm on my way to the gym, standard thing. You know, hit a bit of gym, bit of sauna, bit of steam room. Early morning vibes just to get me up for the day, ready and you know, prepared mentally. I'm on the way to the gym. I'm just listening to a couple of tunes or something, and I had this feeling. I was like, today's the day I want to become Muslim. I'm thinking to myself, where's that thought come from? You know, I was like, I don't want to become a Muslim. Like, whatever. I tried to dismiss it anyway. Obviously, sitting in a sauna and a steam room, you got loads of time to think. And this thought keeps playing on my mind and playing on my mind, and I'm thinking, wow, where's this come from? So anyway, I left the gym and I thought, you know what, I'll give that power a call and see what he says. So I give him a call and I told him, yeah, I want to become a Muslim, and you know, I had this thought that I wanted to become a Muslim anyway. He said, you know what, brother, come and see me and we'll talk about it further. So I went to go meet him. We spoke about it for a while. It was all a bit strange. I had this, you know, weird feeling inside of me, a very uplifting feeling. And we decided that was the day I was going to become a Muslim. So we went to the mosque. It was a beautiful day. We invited a few of my other Muslim friends. A couple of my friends who wasn't Muslim before had reverted to Islam as well, which was, you know, really shocking and strange. They come down and I gave my shahada, alhamdulillah. It was the best day of my life so far. So after converting to Islam, I was still sort of on the road. You know, I had a lot of problems going on, this and that, and I decided that, you know, I need to seek some counselling. So I remember going to this counsellor. I'd had a couple of sessions with her, and she told me that she can't help me anymore. And she said, if you don't change your life, within 6 months, you're going to be dead, in prison, or on the front page of a newspaper for something. And this really hit me in my heart. And around the same time, my friends, they actually sat me down on the table and they said, Louis, listen, mate, you know, you're operating too sketchy. You need to either take a holiday and come back and deal with your stuff, or you need to move away. And this sort of really hit me, and you know, I realised that the way I was living my life was not the way that I wanted to continue to live my life. So I decided to move away and actually relocate to Somerset.
So I met Louis probably about 6 months ago. He told me about his story, that he had a bit of a road life. It was a mad life he lived. And since Islam came into his life, I think it's changed him dramatically. I'm a born Muslim. And to be honest, it's actually helped me work on my deen as well. Well, I live in Somerset, and it's away from Muslims, it's away from all the influence. So Louis has helped me as well as helped himself. He's praying 5 times a day. When I met him, it was about 2 months before Ramadan. We went and spent time in the masjid, done itikaf. It was very blessed. I thank Allah for guiding him, guiding us. It's just a blessed time right now.
I've known him about 5-6 years, even more in fact, but we never really crossed paths in Jahiliyyah. However, as time went past, he kind of started chilling with us again. In fact, with another brother who done the duty of every Muslim should be doing, is getting to know someone, just chilling with them, just chatting to him. And the particular brother started speaking to him, I'd say 6 months prior to before he became a Muslim. And you know, which I would advise every single one of you who's watching this video right now, is to do the same thing. Is if you know someone, is how, you know, is to spend time with them and get to know them. So as time went, you know, Louis kind of came to our gathering in terms of when we used to go chill, we used to go munch, or whatever we used to get up to. I think Louis liked the brotherhood that we gave, because that's the brother we're talking about from LG, from Crawley. You know who you are. You know, us boys, how we got close. We were in Jahiliyyah together, and we're now trying to come onto Deen together. I can't say I'm practicing, but I'm trying. We're all trying, and alhamdulillah, we've come a long way. Even in terms of, you know, chasing success in the Deen and Dunya, which is the balanced thing that we should always be chasing. And with Louis, I think, now talking about Louis here, with Louis, I think what made him come to Islam was, like I said to you before, is a brotherhood that we offered. I wouldn't say that, you know, that we were practicing, or we were very, very humble, pious people. We weren't. It was literally just chilling with us and just chatting to him. And I think most of the brothers, the boys that I chill with, they're not the Asian descent, the typical Asian descent. They were actually, you know, non-Muslims mainly. And my boy, you know, he's half white himself, so I've never really been exposed to Asian friends as such, compared to the boys that I've grew up with and, like I said, trying to get on the deen together. So I think Louis liked the multicultural thing. Louis liked the brotherhood that we offer. We were quite different and unique in terms of how we conducted ourselves. And Louis was someone who, if he liked something, he would give it his all. Just like I know him now. You know, he's passionate about what he wants and what to chase. And yeah, he was a bit mad back in the days in terms of we all were. And I think what Islam brought to him, Islam brought that stability and that purpose of life, that in fact what we all are chasing until this day. You know, we know that, you know, like as a Muslim we are, you know, we do struggle, we do sin, we go through trials and tribulations all the time. However, you know what Louis needed and what we need is a purpose, something to chase, something which is the truth. And in terms of as the society brings, we like escapism, we like materialistic things, we get up to evil things so easily, you know. And I think Louis, just like me and everyone else, that's what we were chasing. But Louis found Islam, and I found Islam. My brothers, like our boys, were trying to find Islam, the truth. And really, Islam has the answer to all these crimes and all the drugs and the alcohol and everything that goes on the streets. Islam has the answer for that. Islam can get communities and societies, you know, to a next level. And I think that's what, you know, Muslims and Muslims fail to understand that. And that's what really, I think, what attracted Louis to come to Islam. My relationship with Louis, like I said, was more after him becoming a Muslim, because soon after when he became a Muslim, he actually lived with me for about 6 to 7 months, and it was really good time we spent together. We had some highs, we had some lows, but really, you know, that 6 to 7 months gave me the opportunity to chill with him, to get to know him more, and do you know what? And the most important bit after someone becoming a Muslim is the aftercare, and that we all lack, that we all don't do. That we think, yeah, someone became a Muslim, I leave it. And just like the brothers, all the brothers that become Muslim out of my boys, you know, from Crawley, from LG, you know who I'm talking about, you know, it was literally down to them, you know, the togetherness and the friendship, the bond that we still have to this day. Yeah, we still get up to things that we're trying to, but we've come a long way. So, you know, I think that we should do. We should always just be grateful and remember where we came from. And I think that's what Louis liked again, that we weren't judgmental. We know that he had to catch up. We know he was he came to Islam and trying to get into, you know, how to pray and what, you know, all the basic things that he didn't know, because obviously he needs to catch up, right? So that gave me the opportunity to chat to him, to chill with him over 6 months that he was living with us. And then as time goes on, you know, things progress, and he did want to move on. He actually moved in with his mother away from Crawley, which I think was the best, you know, move I think he made, and which gave him more stability. You know, wallahi, you know, I saw Louis before Islam, I saw him now, completely different things, you know. And honestly, mashallah, the guy, you know, he is not obviously because of his own efforts, but it was obviously the beauty of what Allah has bestowed upon his religion and what Islam can do to an individual and to a community.
Since I've become Muslim, a lot of things have changed with me. I've become a lot more respectful to my parents. I pray 5 times a day. I fast during the month of Ramadan. I give charity. You know, I consider other people a lot more. I think previously I'd been a very, very selfish person. You know, I'm always kind to other people. I'm always out there, you know, with the best intentions to help other people and, you know, do good in the world. And I want to become somebody that achieves something big. I think, you know, previously I hadn't had any hopes or ambitions other than to be a gangster or be something, you know, be a rapper or something like that. I hope that people can benefit from my story. I'd just like to thank Roadside to Islam for giving me this opportunity. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.